Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. We are days away from the return, the revival of the Mississippi River Festival. We got Zach and Nick in the studio, and I can only imagine this is where you're just the most calm that you've ever been.
You're actually not too far
Really?
off. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause
Okay.
there's just so much stuff to do. Like,
Yeah.
there's always the next thing.
Right.
And so there's no time to worry or be stressed.
And the comfort in that too is like the months leading up to this have just been go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just execute. Like there's no more guesswork or thinking involved. It's just like, all right, we just got to execute now.
Like
And
all the
it's-
logistics, like everything is like, delivery times
Yeah.
are on. Everybody that has their jobs and everybody's on the same page. And man, people like in city rivers and routes, they've all been excellent, like ahead of schedule. Like I'll take something to like Lindsay and Mike in the parks department, and they're 10 steps ahead.
Oh,
of me.
she's
Like,
badass.
they're
Yeah, she does a
they're,
good job.
Ready to go. And so, man, it's just been so cool to have that comfort of people we can count on that are ahead of us. And man, it's just great. So. But yeah, luckily there's not a lot of time to be stressed at the moment.
So I gotta find this out. When I know that the conversation has probably been had a time or two for years about doing a festival down on the riverfront. When was the conversation really had of let's revive the MRF? Can this happen? How do we do it? When did that start to come into play and that process start?
Zach sort of had been charged with stewarding the name is kind of how we like to describe it. We were just like, all right, we've got this name of this legendary festival, and we knew that, with it being in hiatus for 44 years, it was going to take very careful consideration, planning to do it and to do it well. And so Zach and I from the beginning, like when Zach roped myself and a few others into this, we said, let's just become historians first. Yeah. So we read Mark Pierce's book. We read the book that SIUE with the publishing house put out a few years ago, and then started to talk to people who went to the original festival and just found out what made that 11-year period so special. And they had a lot of things working for them, right? It was a special time in the late 60s and 70s for music where you could see these, revolutionary acts happening right in front of your eyes. And that's a lot of people's childhoods. It's a lot of people's formative years seeing these bands. And so we're like, okay, if we're going to take the leap and do something like this, we're not going to do it without, as much as we possibly can, like fully feeling the festival. And so like for about a year and a half straight, we just had those conversations, educated ourselves, talked to Lyle Ward, who's the original festival director, and just hearing his stories directly, we knew that that was a really special thing for people. So our thought was, okay, how can we honor that 11-year history and not let people think that, hey, we're trying to steal your festival or we're trying to, we're trying to replicate it, because we cannot. But it would be a shame if those memories just sort of fizzled out as time went on. So the way we kind of saw it's like we either just kind of celebrate this from a very distant place, or we take the initiative to let's do something special for a new generation of music lovers. So this festival we've been planning for about a year and a half, and many ups and downs with that from
all over the place. Like from conception of like, hey, we want to bring this back. We're like, and we got no direction on what that was supposed to be. So we're like, can we get like a ballpark budget? Like, what's this?
That'd be important.
It's really important. And unfortunately, we didn't have that to work with in the beginning. So we're pitching like big $1 million budget. We're pitching $10,000 budget. Like we're doing the whole scope of possibility of what we think we could pull off as well. All while keeping the history aspect and honoring the legacy and of excellence and what's people hold in their hearts is true and special. Like honoring that. So just like, however big or small the idea, we're like, how do we make this special in that regard? And so eventually just over time after it got canned, then it's back on, then it's like it's this, and then it's two small events, and then now once we found out about the grant with the city, it's like, man, we could pull off a beautiful three-way partnership with Rex Productions, Great Rivers and Routes, and the city of Alton. And just kind of get it, bring people together with music and make something special. And so once that came up, we're like, oh, this puts an accelerated timeline on whatever we were thinking. This adds a little bit of money, a significant amount of money to our budget. And so that gave us, we finally honed it like 3 months ago. Yeah. Is essentially when we got honed in on a final budget of what we could work inside.
And when it was final approval.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So that is really eye-opening for me because, you know, everyone that comments, you know, because we all live in this world and I get killed every day we put out a video of mine, but it's just, no one realizes the ins and outs of putting on an event. I've never done music, but even being a part of pro wrestling like I've been, it's a nightmare because there's so many ins and outs, but to not know your budget until 3 months ago and to get this put on is pretty damn impressive.
Well, not even just the budget. We didn't even know if the festival was happening.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So with this grant approval, we put a plan in motion and presented it to the parties that needed to see it, and then it had to be voted upon and approved. So, and again, to your point, people just have no idea like how intense of planning this is, and so when people comment, I'm like, I just want to reach there, but when it comes to booking music at this level, you really want to be 12 to 16 months.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
And so to get the lineup that we did, which we are over the moon about in that amount of time is pretty awesome. And I don't mean to like pat ourselves on the back or whatever, but we've been working our tails off to do something cool for the city and to have a Grammy award-winning band in Larkin Poe, Tyler Bryant the Shakedown, who's toured with Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Fastball had massive hits in the 90s, and then our buddies in Feel, who are about to announce a huge tour in the fall, are working with some Nashville labels and things like that. To have that caliber of musicianship on the stage in Alton is a dream.
Well, and what I think's really cool, next year Greta Van Fleet's on my wish list, but we'll write it down. Yeah, just to write it down.
Just a cool $1.4 million.
Yeah, just go ahead and throw that out there and float it.
Tickets will be $350.
Or we could just have one of you write us a check for 1.7 and we could profit off of this.
Let's make it happen.
But what I think's cool is it's really unique for the community in the region because at the Riverfront this year you're having a combination of great music. I mean, you got McCreary coming in August 9th, which is a great kind of supplement and country music, but then to start off with some this type of music with Larkin Poe, who's wonderful, and then Fastball, who's been, like you said, that has all these hits, and Tyler Bryant the Shakedown. You have an actual palette of music for the summer, and I think that's a really cool starting point and something to build upon for next year and the years that follow too.
And our goal with the MRF, though we're our own entity, partnering with the city and with Rivers and Routes. Our goal is to do our part in bringing attention to Alton, the music scene, and what's happening. And our hope is that sort of ripples out, and it's like, oh, we can continue to do things. I mean, there's amazing festivals that happen all year long, like the Rock the Hops Festival, Mississippi Earth Tones, like all these super cool things that happen throughout the year. It's like, well, if we can do our part of bringing national attention and stuff to the riverfront, I'm hoping that people are like, man, that town of Alton was awesome. I'm going to come back and check out these other things too. And then, even looking forward to next year. Like, Zach and I are dreamers at heart. So we're thinking 5-10 years down the road about, okay, how can we bring, even bigger names to there, but also how can we make sure that local bands have a spot on our stage as well? Because that's what the MRF was about. It was about just arts in general, even down to how they designed the tent. It was very intentionally done. The acoustics of the sound system, the stage design, the art displays on the festival grounds. It was this whole display of like 360 of art. So even some of the public art displays that we've done with the mural we did over off of Broadway, we just put up some posters on the old Telegraph building over there. We've got Michael Snyder coming down.
Cool verse, buddy.
To put an art display on the festival grounds. This is only what we were able to do within those 3 months. Next year, my goodness.
Have you seen Michael Snyder's radio tower?
Not the radio tower.
Oh my God, it's gonna blow your mind.
Is it really cool? I love the kaleidoscope. That's badass.
Yeah, we'll have the kaleidoscope. We'll have his new radio tower piece, and then a new water feature where it's like
cool.
It's a water pump waterfall that turns an old
like a gramophone.
Like it's wild, but it's like beautiful and conceptual. Like it's busy, but it's also like It's tasteful. It's wild.
He is really cool. We had a great
Insane.
talk because I always forget the damn guy's name, but he started City Museum. And and because I used to do the night show with Ray Hartman across the river and did a couple hours with him, and that's how we started talking. Bob Castle Castley.
Okay. Michael used to work there.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And just to hear his stories working with him, and I mean to have that in Alton at our disposal is wonderful.
Man.
Yeah.
I got to ask you this. Do you think we're in a renaissance in Alton? Because I kind of think we're in the middle of one. We have so many talented artists, whether or not it's musicians to people who paint or draw or do crafts. We have so much of that. And I think to capitalize on that, like you guys are doing with having some of those pieces from Michael Snyder out there, it kind of ties that all in. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because you're really involved in the scene more than I am.
I moved here in 2020, and it was right around the time of the small business revolution.
Oh, yeah.
Alton Works getting started, and just all these really powerful things happening in the city. And I just came in here, and I've been a musician for 10 years and toured and did all that. So when I moved to Alton, I was like, oh my gosh, like what a city primed for beautiful things to happen. And I don't want to like discredit the stuff that has happened, decades ago. Right. Even one of the bands that's playing at the after party, Autumn Clock, I hear stories of them playing in the 90s, and it was like the coolest thing ever. So I think in a way, there's been this movement that's been happening here for decades. There's always been this like undertone of creativity and art. And so moving here and getting to kind of see that, I was like, gosh, I just want people to dream again. And maybe they do in their own ways. And I'm not saying that like we're the saviors of that. Right. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think that people have way more capacity than what they think they do and there's like kind of this tension between this cool local thing that we've got want to keep for ourselves, but at the same time, this level of musicianship, craftsmanship, artistic expression deserves recognition from more eyes than just our own. And so like even like Michael Snyder, mind-blowing. I think anyone in the whole world would see his art and go, that's special, that's cool. I think anyone who goes to see a show at the conservatory on a random Friday night would be like, that's awesome. Conservatory, to my knowledge, is the only venue that does original music anywhere from 2 to 3 nights a week in the St. Louis region. That's phenomenal, and it's in our backyard. So yes, and then of course the landscape of the river, like you don't really get that in St. Louis or anywhere else. It's a great place for artists to live, to work, and the resources in the community here are exceptional.
What I think is really cool is the fact that you guys researched the event first, because I mean, because you look through comments, it's not going to be the same, and it's like, well, no, but
that's why we had to. That's why we had to. Like we have to, like if we're ever going to talk to those people one-on-one, and that's what we found. Like, people are going to comment online as freely as they want all the time. You know how that works. Everybody does.
They got tinfoil on their heads.
It sucks. But we'll find ourselves running into folks that have those things to say in person. Usually they're a little bit more ginger with their words.
I bet they are.
Zach's also 6'3".
It does help that Zach could hit you. You know.
He won't though.
I won't. I'm a sweet.
They just say mean stuff to me all the time. You know, I'm 5'7".
So they'll bring those concerns to you in person, and it usually doesn't take long after hearing our hearts and hearing from the horse's mouth that we're like, man, we've studied, we weren't there, but man, we understand it, and that's what we want for our generation. Is that feeling you have in your heart for your thing, your Mississippi River Festival. That's what we want for our generation. We love music, we love the arts, we love people just as much as you did back in the 70s.
Right.
And we believe that we need that today, and we can pull that off today. Obviously, different parameters, but that same feeling in the heart is what we're trying to give to people who show up on Saturday.
And the biggest endorsement from Lyle Ward, who was one of the founding
pioneers
members of the along with the president at the time, the St. Louis Symphony, in those initial conversations, him saying to us directly how excited he is about this, that some entity is going to preserve this festival long after everyone's gone. He says, this is what I've been hoping for 30 plus years. And so literally from the guy who started it saying that he's excited that there is this reemergence of it. It's like, I don't know what you can argue at that
that's a good point.
Because the guy who gave you all of those memories back in them.
Yeah.
He's saying he's excited about this. And yeah, people talking, people chirping. We've had multiple instances of just having a genuine human conversation with them, not behind a keyboard and saying, hey, I hear your concerns. They're valid. I promise I'm not trying to steal or take your childhood, but I want to tell my kids about what we're doing here in Alton. And then be able to say, also, have you ever listened to Janis Joplin? Oh, yeah, she played at the same festival back in the 70s. It was at SIUE, but same heritage, same festival. It's
go down the gauntlet of that conversation too.
Wow.
I mean, really cool stuff. Hey, you got a moment to stick around? I got to pay a bill. Let me fill you in on Denise Sparks. Sparks Junk Removal and Hauling. I love Denise. You know her? She decided that she was, for 30 years, she hauled junk. She was the queen of junk, demos. If you had rental property,
you're talking the queen of junk.
Yeah.
I see you know her face on the dumpster.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
purple dumpsters.
Exactly.
Oh, Gina.
Well, a year ago, she called me. She said, I'm taking on the big boys here in Alton. I can't deal with this trash company no more.
Yeah.
So she started weekly trash service, and those purple and yellow trash cans popping up, mating like bunny rabbits all across the 618. You know why? It's because she answers the damn phone.
I love that.
It's not a call center. You know, I called Pizza Hut, and I got directed to a call center for my pizza. Did you know that's possible now?
unbelievable.
Yeah, and insane. Not with Denise Sparks. That local community touch is what we all missed and what Denise is giving us each and every time we go to sparksjunkremoval.net or give her a call. Whether or not you need her for weekly trash pickup in service areas like Bethalto, Morrow, Brighton, you name it, Godfrey, Elsa, Grafton, except for the city of Alton, but we're going to change your mind here soon, city of Alton. You can call Denise Sparks now. What I think's cool, you know, when you get older, you don't want to leave your house. You don't want to go to a nursing home. You try to just want to be where you're at and be happy. But mobility stuff happens and you can't pick things up. Denise's team will go into your mother, your father, your grandparents' homes, pick up the trash out of the trash can, take it down in the bin for them, and do valet trash service so they can help make your days today a little bit easier. SparksJunkRemoval.net and start your journey with the Queen of Junk today.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey Sherry, talk to me, Dream Team. We've got showing.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66. Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. He'd be good. You know, I bet you he probably wouldn't show up or be drunk. I've heard some horror stories about booking Hank Williams Jr.
There's stories about Nashville. So like on Broadway, you know, you got the main drag there, and then the original Ryman Auditorium, right, is the Ryman Auditorium is right behind Tootsie's there, and they call it George Jones Alley back there because like George Jones and Waylon would go back there and smoke cigarettes and because you couldn't drink inside the Ryman, so it's pretty Not a lot of people know about that alley right
That's
there,
actually
but
pretty darn cool.
I got a picture of Zach back behind that alley, hanging out like he's
It's a pretty cool
freaking
picture.
Waylon Jennings, dude.
yeah.
I love it.
So at this point in time, are tickets still available online to purchase? Is there a cutoff point?
No, you can purchase tickets online all the way up to day of event, and then we will have a box office on the amphitheater grounds. So F1 fans, if you want to stick around and see a music festival, you can purchase tickets right there on the site. General admission starts at $25, plenty of those available, and then we have reserved and VIP packages available for folks who want a seat with their name on it.
That's cool. And now let's talk about the breakdown, just for folks that are, because there's a lot going on the riverfront this weekend. What time should they expect to start going into the grounds or going into that amphitheater portion of the riverfront?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, the gates open at 5, and that's we're anticipating the F1 boat races being done right about that same time.
Gotcha.
It might run over a little bit, but whenever they're done, that's whenever we'll open up the gates and make our changeover. And what was the rest of the question?
Well,
When people get there?
F1 racing starts Friday,
Right.
around like 10, 11 o'clock or so, and that's kind of some time trials, drivers getting used to the water. But fans are welcome to come hang out that. So they'll be racing all day Friday, and then Saturday morning they're starting as early as like 8 o'clock down there. And so they're racing all day, all the way up till 5 o'clock. Amphitheater, like Zach said, open at 5. We'll be rocking till late into the evening. It'll be great. Yeah. That same night at the conservatory, we're having an after party there. Those folks are putting on a great show over there, a lot of great local bands. So Zach and I will certainly make our way over there at some point. And then Sunday, folks can also go back to the riverfront. There's more F1 powerboat racing. They're also doing a cornhole tournament
that's
on
cool.
the amphitheater grounds as well. And that'll be Championship Sunday, where they'll announce all the winners. And the whole weekend, man, it's gonna be. You
That's
go down
fun.
there at some point, you'll find something.
I was kind of curious, though. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous for you guys when I'm like, man, Saturday's gonna be a freaking nightmare. If you're opening gates at 2 in the afternoon, and the powerboat race. I'm on. Call me later, okay? My phone's like buzzing and going crazy right now. The text line's for you: 618-759-7469. But
Suggestions.
you suck, you know.
Dude, I'm
your
right
guests
here.
are so bad. These are the worst guests ever.
The dude's got great teeth, but other than that,
Now, whenever you were talking with lining up bands, Lark and Poe, how did that fit into the mold? What were you looking for? Was it just availability, mapping wise? What kind of came into play with laying this show out?
Lark and Poe's been one of Zach and I's favorite bands for a handful of years now. Same thing with Tyler Brown and the Shakedown, and then Feel, of course. So we have internally, I mean, it's kind of a numbers game where you send out a lot of avails. Say, hey, here's the date, and especially with this being late in the game, we had to really scope it out.
Yeah.
We had noticed that Larkin was up in Chicago on Friday, and they were routing back to Nashville.
Yeah, and so they were on one of the first lists of availabilities we got, and from the get-go, we were like, we need to have Larkin Poe. Like, whatever happens, however it turns out, if we got acts on both sides of them, we want Larkin Poe to be at MRF because of what they represent, the kind of music they do. So we're doing our show this year. It's just a statement show, a one-night deal, where we're playing rock and roll music. And we thought the rock and roll, we're rock and roll fans.
Right.
And, and just how we're raised and whatnot. But, staying true to the legacy of MRF, they had their parameters were a little bit of something for everybody. So they had symphony, they had, solo artists, they had, some gospel, barbershop, rock and roll, pop, comedy, all over the map. They did
I didn't
all
realize
sorts
they
of
had
stuff.
comedy. I missed that part.
Like Bob Hope, was, he came and did a great set. One of Lyle's favorite stories to tell.
Dance too.
Yeah, but just a little bit of something for everybody. And that's one of the big gripes we get online is well, you need to have more variety. It's but we're limited to one night here, and we're trying to make a statement. So we think that to encapsulate the time, rock and roll was the counterculture, just what was going on in the time. That was pop music back then. That was what was playing on the radio, was rock and roll. So we think that that's a great way to kick our movement back off and restart this thing is with pure rock and roll. And man, they're at the musicianship, the writing from all of these bands is just off the charts. And they stay true to that of the legacy and excellence. And Larkin Poe, one of their biggest influences is the Allman Brothers Band.
Okay, huge.
They played at MRF.
Yeah.
We've seen them do live shows where they do medley transitions with Allman Brothers Band song. And I know they're all about Albert King. but like the classics, and a lot of which performed at MRF, they're influenced by. And you hear that in their southern rock, soul, blues.
And they've toured with a lot of original MRF bands too.
Yeah.
So like,
it's cool as hell.
You know, obviously we're not gonna put out our emails to them, but if you could just see these emails back and forth between us and them, they are over the moon to be associated with this festival.
That's actually, you're reading my mind a little, because I was going to ask if they understood the kind of the prowess that comes with being the headliner for the revival of the MRF.
That was one of the stories. So like I said, when you're booking music in a 3-month window, it's tedious. So we knew that we had to create a story around this to, you know, to convince them to play here. So ZZ Top closed out the festival in 1980. They were the last band to play.
That's what happened.
Yes.
Gosh.
So Feel, right? They are going to be the first band to play the MRF, and the previous band was ZZ Top. I mean, like, I know it's, again, a different location and total thing, but it's the same name, same festival, and just like you're playing on the same platform that these legendary bands played. And so they've loved this storyline. They've heard of the MRF from back in the day. And actually, Rebecca and Tyler Bryant are very good friends with Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top.
Yeah.
So they've been kind of chatting about it. It's cool. It feels timeless. You're just connected, you know, all decades of music.
It seems like, too, this is a show where the artist can truly let the hair out and have some fun. Because, I mean, when you're at an arena show or a stadium show, there's so much that goes into that. You can tell whenever they're not having the most fun on stage. But here's an environment, I mean, where they're loving the story. They love the fact that this is historic and has some significance to the region and to the music industry across the country, really, because of how big MRF was. And they can truly enjoy the riverfront behind them, or the river behind them, and all of these sights and sounds. And that's what makes that fun.
Yeah. And another really special element of it. So the lead singer of Larkin Poe, Rebecca Lovell, she is married to Tyler Bryant of Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown.
I'll be damned.
And,
wow.
And they never play shows together. Like
that is interesting.
They don't play shows on the same bill.
Yeah.
And they already teased from the get-go of doing like some sort of collab. We're not counting on it, but like hoping and think that.
Wow.
But that's just another special element of this. Is like, man, you might see some fun crossover stuff where they get to be creative. It's like, yeah, hey, let's jam on this. Let's do something fun. So I think that it'll be a special atmosphere.
What I think's cool too is you guys have really gone about this the right way. Is, you know, this is only year one. This is show one with hopefully many more to come. Absolutely. And you got to start somewhere. And when you're starting off with this type of lineup, I mean, you're really putting the best foot forward, especially hearing the timing and everything else that you guys had to kind of encounter and battle.
Yeah, it was fate.
I challenge.
It all worked out.
Well, yeah, and even how like getting 4 bands. You know, so the 3 bands, Larkin Poe, Tyler Bryant, the Shakedown, and Fastball, they're all loosely connected to the same management. So everything is just falling into place. So it was real easy to get others involved as well, and then Feel. But yeah, anybody who listens to Larkin Poe, whether it's live on Saturday or if you check out their records before, I dare you to try and listen to that and tell me that they're not a phenomenal band. I mean, it's incredible. The harmonies, the songwriting, the attitude, and just women in rock and roll too is awesome.
Well, and you know, what happened to the days of people going and just trying it out to see if they like the music anyway, you know?
Worst case, you lose $25, you know?
And you have fun on the riverfront and have fun drinking and just enjoying the night. I mean, there's a lot worse I could do and have done with $25.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's how we should have been selling.
That's true.
That's how we should have been selling it all.
I'll only take 10 points next year, you know? But with that being said, what's the best way to get tickets and all that information?
Sure. If you go to www.MississippiRiverFest.com, take you right to our ticketing platform. You can also find every bit of information on RiversAndRoutes.com. That has a schedule for the whole weekend as well as ticket links. And then people can also buy tickets on site there. We are stoked about this. Tickets are going fast, so make sure people jump in, as they can. Because it's going to be an historic night in Alton.
There you go.
Cool. Good time.
We're out of time. I'll see you tomorrow on Thursday. All of you, stay inside. You don't need to be out in the sun today. Put some sunscreen on. Most importantly, get your tickets for MRF and an action-packed weekend in Alton. We'll see you on Thursday. Until then, try your best to stay out of jail.
He said he would.